Hey guys, Will here. Welcome to another episode of Boosted Builds. So today we're going to be getting stuck into the modernization of the dash in our 135i/1M clone build. So yeah, look, this one has been a bit of a tricky one. You guys would have seen in previous videos, pretty much every time you guys have been inside the car with me, things have been different. We've had a digital dash cluster in here for a while. We had a aftermarket Android iDrive unit up on the dash for a little while as well. We've had a couple of different stereo systems in here already too. I haven't really covered any of that because I wanted to sort of figure out exactly what I wanted in the car and then consolidate it all with a couple of videos, which is what we're going to be starting the process of today. So to understand where we're at now, you kind of have to rewind a little bit to understand the process that we've gone through to get here. So you'll remember at one point I did have a digital cluster inside the car. I really liked it for some reasons. There were quite a few quirks with the operation of it, a lot of things that just didn't really work properly. So yeah, look, let's first spin the camera around and show you guys where we've actually ended up now. So we're back to our 1M dash, which we built in a previous video. We've got a really awesome Alpine single din floating head unit in here now, which we're going to cover in the next video after this one. But more importantly for this video, we now have this awesome, well, I think it's awesome at least anyway, a triple old school analog gauge cluster up here, replacing the original storage bin that you guys would remember from the first couple of videos. So in today's video, I'm going to take you through the process of actually building that gauge pod. I want to preface this by saying that I am absolutely not an expert at this at all. This was the very first time I've attempted anything like this. So it's going to be very much a process of sharing the experience with you guys and yeah, just sharing what I've learned as we go through it. So don't take this as an expert tutorial, just take it as a guy with a camera learning by trial and error. But at the end of it, we did come up with a result that I am pretty satisfied with. So let's dive in. So the first step in putting this little gauge pod together was 3D printing the actual pod. Now, I don't have any 3D design skills. That's something that I'm very much looking forward to getting into pretty soon. I have actually just recently picked up a 3D scanner too, so I'm really excited to experiment with that. But in this particular case, I was really lucky because I actually found a model online that was going to be pretty much perfect for integrating into our factory storage bin. But obviously, being on the dashboard of a car, it does need to be somewhat temperature resistant, particularly here in Australia. So it's a carbon fiber infused plastic, which will hopefully stand the test of time. I did have to make some upgrades to the nozzle on my 3D printer as well to accommodate that material. But once we had all that done and that 3D printed, it was time to remove the factory storage bucket in the car. So that did require the removal of the vents, as you can see here. You just kind of pop them out with a trim removal tool, and then that gives you access to the bolts behind it. You open up the lid of the storage bin to undo the bolts at the back too. That whole thing comes out, just unplugged. It does have a little plug in there for some LED lighting, which we will be deleting as part of this process. And then once that was all done, I just cut off the lid of the storage bin, and that brings us to actually integrating the 3D printed gauge pod into our factory store bin. So let's go over into the Boosted Media studio now, and I'll run you through exactly how that all went down. Okay, so we are over in the Boosted Media studio now. I thought this would be a better place with better lighting to show you what I'm going to be doing here. So we've got our gauge pod sitting in there, and I've marked out the angle that I want to have just with a bit of pencil there, but I'm hoping I don't knock this, because the angle, basically, we want this to be sitting pretty much flush with the angle here, a little bit more recessed, just because when this is sitting in the dash, we want the gauges to be upright. So yeah, we've got this plastic cover here. Now the plan is to JB plastic bond this cover back onto here and then seal up all the gaps, sand it completely flat. But yeah, basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna trace out the shape of this. Then I'm gonna create a cardboard template that wraps around the outside of this to kind of seal it off. Then we'll transfer that template onto this cover. We're gonna clean up all this rubberized material that we see all over. I don't know why automotive manufacturers use this stuff. It's the same in the Ferrari as well. Like, all the buttons have got this crap on them and it rubs off over time, and then they tell you, oh no, we don't cover that under warranty. Anyway, so first thing we want to do is trace around this guy. So we're just going to literally go around it like so. We're going to cut that out, and then we're going to transfer it onto that. Okay, done. So that should be the same as that, or close enough, which it is. What we can do is flip it around this way, and that gives us our starting points about here and about here. And then I'm just gonna chip away at it. I know this is gonna be too small of a cut initially, but just wanna sort of get started here. So you get the idea. It's gonna slip over like so. And once we've got it exactly right, it should sit in exactly the right place. And we can, if we need to make any adjustments, we can always masking tape it as well, and we'll figure it out. So, all right, that's pretty close. This side's better than this side, but we've got enough to work with here, I think. Now what we're gonna do is we're going to transfer this template. And any gaps, so once we actually have this shape cut into here, any gaps we're just gonna seal up with JB Weld plastic weld. So it doesn't matter that it's not perfect, but obviously we wanna try and get it as close as we possibly can. So let's get rid of our mess here. And we said that this side was pretty bang on, and it was the other side that had a bit of an issue. So we were gonna come a little bit shallower. I'm sure you guys will already have roasted me in the comments by the time you're seeing this, but the very easy thing that we could do is we know this side's correct, so let's just invert it, right? So line this side up, and we go. I think it's time to get out the Dremel. We don't need to worry about saving any of the mechanism in this. Any bits of plastic or anything that break off, we're just gonna clear out. And yeah, all we're really interested in is just this top cover, and then we're gonna have to clean off this horrible rubberized coating once we've cut the plastic out as well. But let's head over, put our safety glasses on, and do some Dremeling. Sweet. All right, let's go and see whether we are in the ballpark. I can see it's a little bit wavy. It's definitely going to need some tidying up, but yeah, unfortunately we had a couple of little boo-boos there as well, but we're going to be filling all that in with JB Weld anyway. So not too worried about any little imperfections, but hopefully we're all good. So let's have a look here. Oh yeah, a little bit too big of a gap on the back there, but that's okay. We can fill that in with, we're going to fill that with plastic weld anyway, and going to sand it in and blend it. Once it's in the car, that's what it's going to look like. I think that's going to be pretty awesome. So let's get some JB Weld plastic bond mixed up, and we can seal things up. And then we're also going to need to figure out a passage for our cables and tubes and whatnot to come through as well. So yeah, I'll have a look at the car, see exactly where the cables are going to come in, and that will determine where we drill a hole to pass cables through, but pretty stoked with that. Okay, so what we're going to be using here is JB Weld plastic bonder. Now, I'm not an expert. I have no idea whether this is the most appropriate thing to use, but it does say that it sets in 15 minutes, sands or dries to be ready to sand in 30 minutes. So it says it's sandable, which is a good thing. Good for bonding plastic, obviously. I believe that it's okay in relatively high temperature as well. Now, you remember we talked a little bit earlier on about the material that we used for the 3D print. That also needs to be able to stand up to high temperatures, being on the windscreen or just under the windscreen of a car, on the dash of a car. So this is a two-part epoxy style thing. You can see I have used it once before for sticking on some bits to my steering wheel that we did in an earlier video. So it's a two-part adhesive. We only want to squirt out a little bit at a time while we're doing this. And what we're going to be doing is running all the way around here, as well as sticking this down too. So we'll probably pop this out first. We'll run a bead along here so that we can get that bonded. And then we'll put a little dab in either corner, like a tack weld almost, just to make sure that it sits in the correct position as well. Pop that down like so, and then we can put the lid on. We'll run a bead around here as well, pop the lid on. And yeah, I've got no idea what I'm doing here. I'm probably doing everything wrong, but hey, we're learning together. So we're gonna pop the cap off here. And make sure there's no dust or anything here. Let's go. So make sure we get equal amounts of both parts. Okay, put the lid back on. We're gonna squish it all together like so. Hopefully we have enough in here to do the job. I don't know whether we will have enough, but we can always buy more if we need to. It's not too expensive. Dogs bark in there. So we're probably gonna get a few strings and things, but that's okay. We'll just run a small bead. Okay, that should be sufficient to stick that down. Yep, that'll sit in there like that. And that is still sitting at the correct height as far as I can tell. So just put it up a little bit on that side. Make sure it looks like it's flat. Okay, it's sitting a little bit high on this side, so we'll pop that side down. All right. Okay, so I spared you guys the sanding, but I have been sanding this thing both with a little mouse sander, which I have here, this guy, as well as just by hand. I did most of it by hand just to get in the contours and everything. And finally, I think about 2 hours later, I'm happy with the result. Now this JB plastic weld stuff actually works really well. You can see the lighter gray color there, and this has still got all the dust on it. I haven't rinsed it off yet. But yeah, the lighter gray there is the actual JB weld as opposed to the darker area, which is the plastic underneath. So you can sort of see as you're sanding where any high spots or low spots are. The darker parts are low spots. So there's a few little tiny imperfections there. Like there's one tiny little low spot there. But other than that, you can see there was a couple of high spots also where I had those little defects as well, where I nicked it when I was doing the dremeling. But yeah, other than that, I think it's gonna look absolutely awesome. So why don't we get it rinsed off and go and do a quick test fit in the car, see whether it's actually gonna work. All right, in the car, let's see how this looks. Back side in, front side, oh yes. Oh yeah, that is perfect. The angle is spot on as well. I can see in this light, there's a few little defects there where the JB weld is a little high in some spots and low in others. So I do need to do a little bit more sanding along there before we paint it. So I'm gonna let it sit overnight, let it dry out as well since I rinsed it. And then, yeah, I might end up, there's another little low spot there I just noticed as well where the JB weld has sunk in. So yeah, I think I might buy another tub of JB weld and just touch up a few things before I paint it, I think. So, but yeah, definitely gonna look awesome. Best part is when from my driving position here, it's not blocking the view of the bonnet either, which I was a little bit worried about. It's just the right height to hide that nicely. So yeah, so far mission success. Let's press on. We're up to the point now, Benny, where we are going to be priming this. Now, primer is a special thing that you spray onto a surface before you put the paint on it so that the paint sticks better and it doesn't peel off. This is a special plastic primer that's also a filler, see? So what it also does is it helps to fill in some of these little imperfections and little low spots, and it's also gonna help make this a little bit more uniform. So we're gonna spray this on, and then what we'll do is we'll give it another sand once this is dry completely, And then once it's absolutely perfect and all the little imperfections are all fixed up completely, then we can paint it with our final paint layer. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
So, and we're just gonna go really lightly, like that, okay? Really lightly. Okay, so we have one completed gauge pod ready for paint. Now, it's not absolutely perfect. There's a couple of little tiny imperfections. I've done my absolute best though, probably, do you wanna just let go for a second, please, Benny? I've done my absolute best though. There's probably a good 10 hours worth of redoing things and learning and all kinds of stuff. Awesome. Alrighty, let's get it painted up. All right, we are fully painted, and let's jump in the car. The gauges from AliExpress, the very fake looking boost pressure, oil pressure and air fuel ratio gauges are in. These are about 40 Australian dollars each off AliExpress. So yeah, look, we'll see if they work. It doesn't really matter if they're not 100% accurate. It's more just that I have a visual point of reference. If something changes is what I'm more interested in. But let's quickly chuck this in, and then we'll talk about some of the things that I've learned and some of the things I would do differently if I have another go. But sitting in there, I think that looks pretty cool. It's certainly not perfect. And look, I am a perfectionist, so it is going to annoy me every single time I look at it there. But look, if it does bother me, I can always either sand this one back and refinish it, or go and buy another storage bin, print another pod, and try again to make a better one. But look, I mean, I definitely learned a lot in the process of doing this, and this channel's never been about, you know, me trying to be an expert. It's about me learning, making mistakes, sharing those mistakes with you guys so that you can learn along with me as we go. And look, the big mistakes that I think I made here, the biggest one was when I was applying that JB Weld plastic bond. I'd never used anything like that before, so I had no idea how long it was going to take to dry or anything like that. When I first mixed it up, it was still quite sort of quite runny. And you could see when I was trying to put it on, it was stringing and it was sort of falling down into the cracks rather than filling them. So I was having to sort of put more and more and more and more. And that's how I ended up getting that mess all over the top surface, which was fine because I was able to sand all that off again. But it definitely, you could see my hands were shaking, and I was anxious about it. No real reason to be anxious about it other than, you know, I get myself worked up when I'm trying something new. But yeah, it ended up being a lot more messy than it needed to be. What I should have done, and what I will do next time, is wait a little while for that JB Weld to harden up a little bit more, thicken up, and that will make it a lot easier to work with. I would have just been able to run around that perimeter and it would have gone in absolutely fine. I wouldn't have had the 2 hours of sanding to clean up the mess that I created. So look, I don't think it made a huge difference to the overall outcome, but I definitely learned a lot about that. And I think next time as well, just having another look, I'll probably, if I do make another one, I won't attempt to leave this little channel in here. I think I'll probably just fill that out and smooth it off completely. But look, I mean, for a first attempt, I mean, you guys can judge for yourselves. I'm happy with it. That's the main thing. But yeah, anything less than perfect does tend to annoy me. So we may end up finishing it off again a little bit later on. But anyway, next video, what we're going to be doing is completely redoing this dash. So as obviously you guys know now, I wasn't happy with the giant screen. I wasn't happy with the digital cluster either. Yeah, I've decided to go with what my original plan was, which is to put a Android Auto / CarPlay compatible head unit, as we see here, in a little single DIN pocket up the top here. And it's a floating screen design, as you can see here. So it'll allow us to position the screen pretty much exactly where we want it, not quite covering the vents, but not, you know, so low down that you can't glance at it when you're driving, and certainly not blocking any view up above here either. So yeah, that was the original plan. Sometimes I think you've got to experiment with these things, make some mistakes, waste some time, and it makes you appreciate when you get it right in the end a lot more. We're lucky that we live in a society nowadays where you can return stuff. Yeah, I returned the digital cluster and the iDrive display back to AliExpress. They paid for postage return. They gave me a full refund within a couple of days. So that was really great. So yeah, we'll crack on with that in the next video. Let me know if you have any tips for me if I do end up trying to refinish this thing as well. But yeah, while I'm not absolutely 100% happy with the final product, I definitely learned a lot, and that is the main thing. So I hope you guys enjoyed following along for the process as well. Leave a thumbs up if you've enjoyed the video. Make sure that you subscribe so you don't miss out on the next one as well. We've got a lot of wiring and stuff to do to get this interior all finished off. But yeah, in the next video, we should have that all pretty much completely done. So stay tuned, guys. Thanks for watching, and I will see you again very soon. Bye.